I'm going to give a simple demonstration of Excel to prepare you for your first Excel assignment project. You'll receive detailed instructions for your project, but let's take a look at some of the basics in using Excel. I've opened the program and I'm going to click on the blank workbook to get us started. You'll notice that across the top are letters naming columns, column A, B, C, D, and so forth, and down the side are the numerical numberings for the rows, row 1, row 2. So right now we've clicked on cell A1, and if we tab, we can go to B1, C1, D1. If we want to go down, we can use the enter key, A1, A2, A3, A4. That's an easy way to navigate, or you can simply just point and click and locate a cell that you want to work in. I'm using, I think, version 10 of Microsoft Office. Your toolbar may be different than this, but basically it works the same. So I think you'll be able to kind of click and figure this out as you go. We're going to start in cell A1 and we're going to type the title of our project. It is attendance in January. I'm going to highlight these words because I'm going to make them bold and I'm going to make them a little larger. I'm going to go up to Home. I'm going to click on the B for bold. And just like when I'm using Microsoft Word, I can click on the size of the font and make it a little larger if I choose. I'm going to skip row 2. I'm going to cell A3 and I'm going to start entering the titles of each of my columns. The first one is employee number, and I will tab over to B3 and type days present, tab over to C3 and type days assigned. I will tab over. And I'm going to show the relationship between those two values as first as a decimal and as a fraction and finally as a percent. You'll notice that not all the words in the categories are visible. So I'm going up to the letters at the top. I'm going to double click on the outline and you can see it moves the bar over far enough that you can see all the words. I'll do the same thing for B, for C, for D. Just adjust the size of the column to fit your headings. Now I'm going to enter employee numbers. These are going to be from 1 to 10. I'm going to start with 1. I'm going down to the next cell beneath that, and of course the next employee would be number 2. I'm going to let the Excel program number consecutively for me, so I'm going to enter a formula that tells it what to do. So in order to signal that there is an equation coming, I'm going to hit equals, and then what I want is the number in A1 plus 1. Because each number is going to be one more than the next. You can see the formula written in this square that I'm going to. I'm going to hit enter, and there you see. It has added 1 to the value that was in A4. I'm going back to the last one that I did that has the formula, and I'm going to position my cursor so I get this little crossed hair. And I'm going to left click and I'm going to drag down until I have 10. You see, it's just numbered automatically for you. This would be very handy if you had a lot of numbers to put in there. It would save you a lot of time. Days present is going to be some data that I'm going to enter. This I have just simply made up myself. You will be given data to enter in your Excel chart. So here I go. I'm going to enter 12, and I'll hit enter, and it takes me down to the cell beneath it. I'll enter 3, 15, 7, 9. Whoops. I'll just go back and fix that and delete this one. The days assigned: 15, 12, 15, 13, 10, 15, 15, 10, 10, and 15. Now I'm ready to write this as a decimal. So what I'm doing is comparing 12 out of 15. It was present 12 days out of 15, or the fraction 12/15. I'm going to write that as a decimal. So I'm going to enter a little formula here. I always start with equals. That signals that's what my computer's about ready to do, is to accept an equation. I want this number divided by this number. And you can see the formula, that what's in B4 divided by what's in BC. When I hit enter, the calculations are done for me. I want to use that same formula in all the cells in this column. So again, I will find my little crosshair, hold down the left button on my mouse and drag down, and when I release, it's filled with all sorts of wonderful decimals that you would get by doing the division that we told it to. Some of these have a lot of decimal places in them, and I think they're a little cumbersome, so we're going to format that. I'm going to right click, and I get this nice menu of things that I can do. I'm going down to format the cells, and I'm going to look at the tab numbers, and I will just choose number, and it says that I can choose how many decimal places I want to show. It says 2 decimal places. I could have 3 or 4, or I could actually go down and not have any decimal places at all, but I'm going to go back and choose 2 decimal places. I'll click OK, and you see automatically it's been rounded to 2 decimal places. Next, I'm going to write it as a fraction. I'm just going to enter that same equation, and again, equals this divided by this. And when I hit enter, it's going to give me the decimals. I'm wanting a fraction, so I'm going to go back to right-clicking, and I'm going to select again, Format Cells. This time I'm going to choose fraction, and I have many choices about what kind of a fraction I want to express this. I'm going to choose up to 2 digits. That means that the numerator and denominator won't have more than 2 digits. It'll just round to one that has 2 digits. And you can see I have 4/5, and I'm going to find my crosshair, hold down that left mouse button, drag down through my cells, and when I release, there we have the fractions. Last is the percent. I'm using the same calculations again. Equals this divided by this. You can see the same formula. You could copy that formula, but I think it's a little easier, no harder than it is to do this, just to re-enter the equation. Okay, so we want to format this, and you know what we do. We right-click, and we'll go down to Format Cells, and we want to format these as a percentage. How many decimal places do we want? I'm thinking let's just go to 0. That'll give us whole percents. And there you have it, 80%, just like we expected. We want to do this for the whole column, so we find our crosshairs. We hold down the left mouse button and drag it down, and there we have the percents. So that's pretty exciting. Now we're going to do just a few things to make this even better. We are going to highlight this whole part of the chart. We're not going to highlight the title, just the chart. And let's center all the data in the columns. So we'll go to Home and find the center icon. Click that, and presto, it's all centered for you. Now let's add some grid lines. We're going to right click again. Whoops, let's get back over here. Well, this is where we want our grid. We're going to right click and again format cells, and you'll see the tabs across the top. We'll click on border because we're going to make an inside and outside border of every cell. And you can see we have some choices. We have a choice of what style. We'll just use the default. We want an outline around the outside, and we want inside borders as well. This is what our little chart's going to look like. I'll click OK, and there we have it. Next, we're going to do a couple of things that we're going to use the page layout for. We'll click on Page Layout, and we're going to center this on the page. I'm going to go to Print Titles, and you can see these are my tabs. I'm going to go to Margins, and I'm going to click horizontally, and that's going to set this up left to right in the center of our paper. If I go to Page Layout again, Print Titles, now I'm going to enter my headings on the paper. So I'm going to go to Header and Footer and click on Custom Header. And you see there's 3 headers. These are going to go up above the title. And I think in the left one, I'm going to type the name of our class, Math 85. In the center one, Excel assignment number one. And on the right, I'm going to put my name. You'll notice it's going to be Right Justified. It's going to look awesome. And I'll click OK. And we're good to go. Let's just take a look at the page layout. Whoops, we didn't get the headers on there, did we? Let's try that again. Page layout, print tiles, headers, custom headers. We had Math 85. We had Excel assignment number 1. And we had my name. You put your name, but I'm putting my name. And we'll click OK. There we go. Now we're ready to print. And just like you print any document, I'm going to press Control P. And we're finished.